Nancy Pelosi's personal replacement had to say. House Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries was asked about the DOJ ordering prosecutors to drop charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Let's hear what he had to say. All right, let's get to some homegrown domestic fraudulence. The Trump administration, known for deal making, has cut another deal with the great deal maker himself, the honorary Turk, New York City Mayor Eric Adams. As you guys know, Eric Adams was investigated by the federal agencies for corruption and for cutting deals with Turkish envoys in an effort to give, I guess, like very limited benefits to the Turkish government in a, I guess, pay for play scheme where you got to visit Istanbul quite a bit with Turkish Airlines tickets and also stay at the Four Seasons in Istanbul. And for that, he offered the Turkish embassy a way to avoid the fire department and make sure that the Turkish embassy in New York, the new building they were building, was not up to fire code, but could still operate, you know, building clearances, things like that. And aside from that, I think it was, they begged him, the Turkish government begged him to not recognize the Armenian genocide, things like that. You know, it's just pure corruption. It is boring, but it's very obviously pure corruption. And here he is, getting the Department of Justice, Trump's Department of Justice, to throw away the case. How is he getting the Trump Department of Justice to throw away the case? Mind you, not on the grounds that there's no evidence or whatever of corruption. It was pretty open, but because he's playing ball with the Trump administration for as long as he remains the mayor of New York.
In New York, where federal prosecutors have been ordered to drop the government's corruption case against Mayor Eric Adams. He had been facing 5 charges, among them bribery and fraud. A Justice Department memo says now that the case was interfering, however, with Adams' ability to help with President Trump's immigration crackdown. CBS News legal contributor Caroline Polisi is here for more on this. Caroline, thank you very much for joining us.
I mean, he quite literally said that New York City local law enforcement would collect whoever wanted to do raids inside of New York City, despite New York City being a sanctuary city. And lo and behold, a couple hours later, the Trump administration's Department of Justice said they're dropping the case on him.
The Justice Department was at pains to point out that they're not dropping this based on the merits or a review of the evidence. They're not saying he's innocent. So what are they saying here?
Right. The memo really is shocking in it's brazen, it's dripping with politics, right? As you noted, they are explicitly saying they're not looking at the merits of this case. And the reasons that they're giving for this order to drop the case are, one, that it's distracting Mayor Adams from really getting in line with President Trump's immigration policies. You know, New York has traditionally been a sanctuary city, but Mayor Adams has recently really been getting behind the federal push with ICE agents, cooperating even with ICE agents in the immigration space. They've also really, in this memo, pointed to President Trump's, this idea of the weaponization of the Justice Department, and Adams was very vocal, feeling he was persecuted in this prosecution because he publicly spoke out against the Biden administration's immigration policies. There's been a bit of a bromance, if you will, between Adams and Trump. Remember, he had a last-minute invite to the inauguration, so this has likely been in the works. But I will note, the memo is saying that it should be dismissed without prejudice, and that their acting head of the Southern District of New York can relook at the charges after the mayoral race in November.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow is right.
So basically, he's under. It's a trial. It's a trial run. So basically. They're saying, we're going to see how you do with getting in line with the Trump policies, and then maybe we'll see after the election what we're going to do.
So they can shelve it for now.
Yeah.
So what happens now?
This is such like I don't know how to deal with this. I mean, this is just such a transparent instance of corruption. Like, it's quite literally overt corruption. It is like Erdogan shit. It's it. I don't know what else to say. He's just like, yeah, we're dropping your we're dropping your investigation. We're dropping your court case. You're going to play ball with us. You're going to play ball with us, and you're going to let ICE storm. You're going to let ICE into New York City, and you're going to collaborate. You're going to make the local law enforcement cooperate with ICE. Now, what's really interesting about this is I have, once again, argued that the Democratic Party should have done something similar, but instead of dropping active court cases to make politicians play ball, my argument was actually investigate corrupt politicians. Okay? Actually investigate corrupt politicians and force them to play ball at the behest of the overall good for the public. Why haven't you been banned? Why would I be banned? What an interesting question to ask here. Maybe because I have not violated anything, like any terms of service. You not liking my political commentary doesn't mean I'm, violating terms of service. I like that for a lot of people. Also, that dude's name is Pureblood. That's weird. Here's the footnote that needs to be mentioned. DOJ is not dropping Eric Adams' charges in exchange for his help on immigration enforcement. Footnote has people asking a lot of questions. That is already answered by the footnote. Here it is. Your office correctly noted on February 3rd, 2025 memorandum, as Mr. Bove clearly stated, defense counsel dismissal at our meeting. The government is not offering to exchange dismissal of a criminal case for Adams' assistance on immigration enforcement. According to an October 2024 Wall Street Journal article, Bout has already started to participate in arms deals again. Okay, that's a separate part of this. Mr. Bove clearly stated to defense counsel during our meeting, the government is not offering to exchange dismissal of a criminal case for Adams' assistance on immigration enforcement. That is precisely what they're doing. That is precisely what they're doing. But hey, fear not. Let's see what the great resistors have to say about this process. Let's see what the leader of the Democratic Party, Nancy Pelosi's personal replacement, had to say. House Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries was asked about the DOJ ordering prosecutors to drop charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Let's hear what he had to say.
Any reaction to the dropping of the charges against Eric Adams?
No reaction at this point in time. The people of New York City will make a determination as to who to lead the city of New York forward.
Bro, you got a layup. What are you talking about? You just got a layup, dude. You got a layup to say, look at the Trump administration. After spending years and years talking about how the DOJ was weaponized for a political purpose, very actively forcing the hand of a corrupt mayor of New York, you get to show that you're not a partisan because you're not defending Eric Adams. Oh my God. You get to show that this goes above party loyalty because Eric Adams is a Democrat. You get to show that there is a transparent instance of corruption and a weaponization of the Justice Department. Nope. None of that. It's great. Representative Jeffries brought family to the Tel Aviv on an American Israel Education Foundation trip, but left them at home for the New Orleans Black Caucus event. Nice little personal journey. It's great. Dude, we are in a dire situation, man. They told me that I had to refer to the West Bank as Judea and Samaria, and I said, no, I won't. MJ Rosenberg, the DC veteran who spent more than 4 years at AIPAC, tells Prem Tucker about leaving. Can you tell us about what AIPAC's main strategy was when you were there? They had a war room where one guy had a whole staff devoted to tracking down negative statements by journalists and celebrities of any kind. The same guy was in charge of infiltrating and reporting back their strategies. Where'd you get that hoodie from? They sent it to me. It's a Dolce & Gabbana Razor collab. Like Razor, the gaming company, collaborated with Dolce & Gabbana. Not a hashtag ad. It's just some that they sent me.
Next with the criminal case against Adams, if anything.
So as it stands now, the acting Deputy Attorney General, Emile Beauvais, who's standing in that position before Todd Blanche officially becomes the Attorney General, he has directed Southern District prosecutors to move to dismiss the case under these conditions that it be without prejudice. Now, look, there's an acting head of the Southern District of New York.
Yes.
She really does have to fall in line, right? Because it's part of the
A
Justice
lot,
Department.
It seems to be a lot of falling in line, Caroline. Have you ever
exactly.
seen anything like this before?
Is
Never.
it setting a
I've-
poor precedent?
It's a poor precedent. I've never seen anything like this since the Nixon administration, the DOJ, which is part of the executive branch. But the DOJ has a culture and a history of being completely shielded, independent from politics, right? The American public has come to expect that prosecutors prosecute cases without fear or favor, and that politics doesn't play a role in this. The former head of the Southern District, Damian Williams, very vocal about prosecuting without fear or favor. He indicted Diddy, he indicted Mayor Adams. This is, I can't overstate how unprecedented this is and how much of a precedent it sets. And sends a message. If you're on board, if you're a crony, you will get special treatment.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that is what it is.
The latest on the
Also, Trump's White House's actions are facing court challenges. It's like the last bastion of defense here. The limited amount of resistance being put up by, Reagan era judges.